Hello everybody, my name's Rob Nixon and with me is Mr. Colin Dunn.
Hello Rob, great to be here today, celebrating 7 years.
Our birthday today, here we are the 7th of November, 7 years. So what we thought we'd do is, for the next hour or thereabouts, take everyone through a bit of a journey as to what are the highlights of what accounting firms have been implementing and how they've been implementing, but also to talk about the next 7 years as well as to what's going to happen in the profession. So, Cole, it's going to be an exciting hour or so. Photographs of you and I coming up there now. Proactiveaccountants.net. It didn't start off as Proactive Accountants Network. It started off as the euphemistically named Rob Nixon, Cole.
That's right, Rob. Yes. So gone through several iterations over 7 years to get to where we are today. But lots and lots of success among the client base over that time, which I know, Rob, like me, you're thrilled with, and looking forward to the next hour.
Absolutely. And although there's been some changes in name, you know, the Nixon has been dropped now. As we look further afield, the business is certainly bigger than me when it first, now since it first started. But the impetus of what we've been doing has remained the same, and that is we are all about and continue to be revolutionizing the financial performance of accountants and then helping their clients to do the same thing via the accountants. So I thought we'd just reflect a little bit on the last 7 years and specifically the last 3 as to what we've been doing with accounting firms here and around the world. And it's only been the last 3 that we've been really tracking the financial performance of our member firms on our cloud tracking system. And what we worked out was quite fascinating, that in the last 3 years alone, that we have actually increased profitability by $272 million and increased the wealth of the industry, for the ones that we've been working with, of course, only $816 million of new wealth. So, Cole, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty proud of that we've actually made a significant difference to the profit and the wealth of the firms we've been working with.
Very proud indeed, Rob, and of course the firms are the implementers, and they're to be congratulated on the great results that they've had, and through that as well, that significant results that their clients have seen as a result. Yeah, certainly really proud of the contribution we've been able to make, Rob.
And you know what, as we look at breaking that down into the difference that's been made and continue to make, what we've found out, we've had 625 firms that we've directly coached, either myself, Colin, or our other coaches as well. And with that, we currently coach 286 firms right now. So the coaching process that we have is not forever. You know, 3 to 4 years seems to be about the number, and firms get it and move on. We've had, as I said, $817 million worth of revenue that we've influenced, which is interesting, and the 318 in profit influenced. So that's been interesting, not just the profit improvement, but that's how much we've influenced over the period. We've had seminar attendees the last 7 years of close to 12,000. We've had close to 45,000 teleseminar or webinar attendees. I'd imagine that a bunch of those are repeats.
I would think so, yes. It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. We've had on our blogs and web views 125,000 unique blog views every year. We'll talk about the benchmark report in a moment, about 50,000 downloads of that, which has been exciting. We've had 105,000 website downloads. If you've not done that, by the way, go to proactiveaccountants.net. A lot of free things there that you can get access to. On our current community, we've got 1,150 community users. Our videos have had 23,500 views on our learning center. You know, it's a lot of education's been put across because just creating profit, you know, very quickly. Creating profit doesn't happen quickly. It takes a lot of work to do that. Nearly 70,000 community views, 11,000 posts, and currently, Cole, we've got product content and tools in 38 countries. But of course, the majority of the work has been Australia and New Zealand.
That's right. Yeah. Wow, those figures are extraordinary, aren't they? And I think that really sums up the difference that we've been able to make by using a variety of different media. So the coaching, the seminars, the training, the online materials that we have, and continuing to add to that as well, of course. So they're thrilled with those numbers, Rob, and the big difference we've been able to make.
Absolutely right, and it's very rewarding to get the case studies, success stories that come back, and we want to do more of this over the next 7 years. So what we thought we'd do, in a little opening up, is to add some value And let's talk about the profession the last 12 months. So we're just about to release our annual benchmark report. I believe it goes out next week. And what I thought I'd do, I grabbed the median results from it, and just the median results, not the low, upper quartile, or the top performers, just the median. And what I was able to do in putting this presentation together was look at how the industry is compared vis-a-vis the firms that we're working with, and how do you stack up in your firm. So if we look at productivity of partners, 47% for the profession. Our firms are at 37%, or a 27% difference. Now, Cole, some reasons why our firms would be lower than the rest of the profession median result, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it starts with the mindset, and so you know, when I walk into an accounting firm, oftentimes there's this drive for the partners to have high productivity. The problem with that, of course, is that the more chargeable you are, the less you're able to focus on developing your own business. And as soon as partners start to view their what they call their accounting practice as a business, it takes a different sort of mindset. It's interesting, Rob, at our Melbourne Cup celebrations yesterday, I was talking with Ben, one of our coaches, and he'd been working with a firm in Sydney, four-partner firm, and he showed them that the contribution that the partners personally were making in terms of revenue contributed was bigger than the profit for the firm. And he said, one of the partners said, I feel physically sick
Wow.
at that realization. And you know, the key here is for the partners to understand that they really need to just be doing three things. So focusing on high-value chargeable work. And our recommendation, Rob, as you know, is you know, around about 30% of the time, but for some it's less than that, for some it's a little bit higher. And then a really important role of nurturing clients, and that's going to become more and more important, I think, as cloud accounting gets hold, and we'll talk about that later in the hour. But I think we're in an era now which we need to be thinking of as high-tech, high-touch. And so if it becomes easier for the clients to have their accounting work done because of cloud accounting, then you need to be talking to them more to maintain that relationship. And then that third role is a leadership and a strategy implementation role. And I think too many partners in our profession, Rob, are too caught up doing low-value work and not enough of the other two things there.
So let's do a little poll here, Cole, because I've got a whole series of questions to ask just to see where you're at, because this was we'll culminate. You'll see the reasons for the questions right at the end. So if you just all participate, it'd be great, because we're going to actually give you a gift. A gift to everyone on the line gets a very significant gift, free, no strings attached, but I'll announce that at the end. So first question is, with your partner productivity in your firm, is it low, medium, or high? So low would be, let's say, less than 30%. Medium would be around the 50%. High is sort of more than 60%. So just in your little chat session down the bottom of your sidebar there, just tap in low, medium, or high, and we'll get a bit of a poll going as to what most firms on this call are on. So next one is going to be productivity of the accountants. So 74% was the median for the industry. Our firm's not much different, 72%, so very marginal difference there, Cole. And I think this is excellent because the pushing of productivity it's fundamentally flawed when it comes to driving billable hours, driving chargeable time. And I think as a result of this, Cole, our messaging that we've been putting out there is getting through that we shouldn't be driving productivity.
Well, I certainly hope so, and we need reasonable productivity. But the 70 to 75% range is great. But if your accountants are 90, 95% productive, then how can they possibly develop any skills? All they're going to be doing is churning the same things out day after day, and I don't think that helps anyone.
Not at all, not at all. So let's have a look at the next one, because if we're not going to be driving, we believe, based on our client results, they tell us this as well, we don't drive chargeable time, we don't drive billable hours, but let's drive our margin with average hourly rate. So right now, for client hours, so if you did 10,000 client hours and $1 million worth of revenue, therefore $100, the median for the profession was $166, and that's typically based on some multiple of salary to get a charge rate and a range of charge rates in the firm. Our firms came at $205 median result, so, 123, that's the wrong number there. That's not the answer at all. So the difference being, we aim for success here, Cole, not perfection.
That's true, indeed. Yeah.
So the difference being 23%, not $123. So 23% difference there. And Cole, this is a testament, I think, because that's quite significant in margin for same work, to the work that we get firms to do in changing their pricing model. And bear in mind, this is the median. We've got firms who are averaging well over $400 for their client work as well. But Cole, this is quite significant, I think.
It is significant, and pricing is certainly a big one. But if we look at that number for the profession, the 166, when we first started tracking this, Rob, 3 or 4 years ago, that would be running around 150. So we've probably seen CPI increase in the profession as a whole there. But the pricing mechanism is so important to drive average hourly rates. And if your productivity is remaining, around about the same, and assuming your whip's not blowing out ridiculously, average hourly rate's the key driver here of revenue and profitability. And so by pricing every job up front and driving time down, what our member firms have been able to do is to just create more capacity there. So get a better average hourly rate on the work that they're doing, and then create more capacity and resell that capacity at higher rates as well. And I think that's given the average hourly rate of our firms a big boost too, Rob.
Absolutely right. And of course, the next one, Cole, is going to be the average hourly rate for all hours. So 82.96 for our firms, a 17% differential versus a 23% differential for client hours. And this is the number we started tracking a few years ago as well, because we saw a number of firms had very, very high client hours average hourly rate, 300 for example, 300-400, but their total hours was very low and their profitability was low. So as a result of that, we saw, okay, why is that so? And as it turned out, high admin count, for example, low productivity would end up with lower average hourly rate for all hours. So in this one, we look at the working hours of the individuals, let's say 1687, how many total full-time equivalent people do we have, including partners in administration, let's say 10. Therefore, we've got 16,870 working hours. Divide that into the revenue, and that will give us the average hourly rate for all hours. If you wanted to measure one number only, it would be this one, other than, of course, one KPI, that is, other than profit and cash. You could drive the performance of this business, accounting business of yours, just on average hourly rate all hours, because that's going to be the determiner to say, right, that number alone, and 96 is still low. This is median results. Our top performers are getting well over $150. And we look at this number and say it's a mix of productivity, it's a mix of client hours, write-ons, write-offs, and also our total headcount administrative mix as well. So pleased to see it, Cole, again. Our firms are leading the charge from the rest of the profession there.
That's exactly right, yeah. And that number you mentioned in passing there, Rob, the 150, that's a great benchmark to aim at. And as you say, we've got firms going through that number now. This is a good overall indicator. And if you combine this with leverage, so people per partner in the firm as well, then I think there are two very important KPIs just to drive performance.
Exactly. Now we get to the wonderful write-offs. I'm so excited by this, Cole, that the profession median result was -1. And I remember when I first started benchmarking firms back in 2001, so it's 11 years benchmarking firms, that was like -10%. So finally the profession's going, yes, we don't need to do this stupid thing of writing off. Ours are +1. Fantastic result, I think, Cole, that the profession is waking up to the fact that we don't have to write off.
It's a very good result, and I think, Rob, one of the things you're most famous for saying from the stage is it's dead easy to get rid of write-offs, just ban them. And then, you've got to put some stuff behind that to make that happen. But certainly the message is getting across, which is great. And the really interesting thing is, Rob, you and I spent some time in the United States in June, and what we found there was that in the U.S., they're still running at 12 to 15% write-offs over there.
What I thought was funny, Cole, with the U.S. experience, we call it a write-off, and with a negative number in front of it. The Americans call it their realization margin. So how much did we realize? And they'd say we realized 92%. So they put a positive spin on it, where it's actually 8% written off. Give me a break, right?
Sounds like a good number, though.
That's right, exactly. WIP and debtors, so we've got 28 days in WIP for the profession, 13 days in WIP for our firms, which is great, 115% change there. Actually, let's do this. Let's just go back to the write-offs in your chat, because we've got 20% of, go back to the partner poll here, 20% of the participants on this call are low partner productivity, 50% are medium, and 30% are high. So clearly we've got some work to do with this group, Cole. Let's ask the write-off question as well. So percentage roughly that you write off, rough percentage that you write off, you know, year on year out. So if it's if it is a minus, put a minus in front, or a plus. Please put minus or plus so we can check the poll there, please. We'll get those answers coming through. So work in progress, 28 and 13. Debtors at 57 here and 48, so 18%. Or lockup, we need to look at both together. This is the big change here, 85 to 61 days, a 39% difference in lockup, you know, of 61 days. So lockup is going to be you know, a combination of billing and completed work, turnaround time, and of course collections. So Cole, pleased again that our firms are listening, they're implementing, and the profession is doing okay, but nothing great there.
Doing okay, and I think if we look at our firms in the middle there, well, that 61 is very much a median, and we have some high-performing firms with fewer than 10 days in lockup, which is quite extraordinary. Because they're pricing every job up front, they're getting negative work in progress, they're asking for the cash before they start the work and getting it. I think this whole thing with lockup, it blows out because of I think three things. So firstly, there's too many open jobs in most accounting firms, so there's no focus on minimizing open jobs, which means jobs don't get finished. And accountants will get stuck and they'll put a job down, and the easiest thing to do is to pick up a new job, and so the time just sits on WIP and nothing gets billed. Secondly, as we know, most firms in the profession are still pricing in arrears, and so when you price in arrears, the incentive is to go slow rather than to go fast. And then thirdly, I think there's a real lack of commerciality around engagement, around pricing, and around collections, and that can be fixed really, really easily. Later on, we'll talk about the accountability that's when you put that around this process can really help to knock off 20, 25, 30 days of this lockup number really quickly.
And now for the big one, Cole. For the first time in 11 years, profitability per partner, drum roll please, not a very good drum roll coming up, has declined. And it has declined compared to last year by 4%. The profit per partner, the median result was $293,058, a 4% drop on last year. I've been benchmarking, as I said, firms since 2001. Been working in the profession, working on the profession since '94, and this is the first time I've seen profit per partner decline. Our firms were certainly $380,000, so a 30% differential. You know, median result again. But Cole, what's your view on the profit decline that we saw in the profession the last 12 months?
Well, like you, this is the first time I've seen this, so it's a little bit of a shock. But I think what's happening is the accounting profession is finally feeling the impact of the economic slowdown, and the problem that I think is occurring, Rob, is that clients of accountants are starting to tighten their belts. So, you know, there are more layoffs being announced, even by the mining companies now. Unemployment's on the rise. There's still a lot of negative talk around, and so clients have stopped spending. Now, when that happens, as an accountant, you've got two choices. Either you retreat, and that's, I think what most accountants do, or you decide that this is the time when my clients need me more than ever, and you get out there and talk to them and find ways in which you can add serious value to them to help them in more difficult times. And when you're able to do that, you know, clients will pay, and you look at the differential there, Rob, and I think it's the mix of compliance and value-added work that might be providing the difference there. A client might be price-sensitive on compliance work, but who knows if they're price-sensitive on value-based work unless you get out there and ask them.
Well, Carl, I agree with you that this is the economic conditions here hitting the profession, but the other thing is I also think it's the start of a lot of changes to come, and I want to talk about some of those changes in about 10 minutes' time as to what we're seeing as to how the industry will be changing on this high-tech, high-touch matter. But the reality is, you know, $300,000 profit per partner, it's still reasonable. It's not great. and there's many less than that, many more than that. We have many firms that are making more than $1 million profit per partner, which is where we think it should be at as an attainable goal. And I'll step you through how your business should look like to do that pretty soon. But in the day, a profit decline for the first time is quite staggering. And I think it's time that the industry realized that there are going to be some changes ahead, and they need to step up and do something different. Otherwise, we're just going to get the same results if we just keep doing the same things we've always done. So what I thought we'd do is look at the anatomy of a high-performing firm. And I picked one this morning. You'll see literally 11:17 a.m. this morning. I looked at this particular firm. It's now November, and they've already got their October numbers in. So I wanted to step you through a couple of key aspects of this firm that's been down this path for 3.5 years now. So they started where you were probably, or where you are today, but 3.5 years later, they're a vastly different looking firm. So for example, their average daily rate for client hours here year to date is $427. And that's a mix of compliance. They have about 750 small business clients in suburban area. Nothing fancy as far as high net worth clients. It's a regular client base, but their margins are significant here at $427, and that's a mix of efficient process after pricing up front, and also value-based fees work to prop that up. Last 12 months, this particular firm sold $772,000 worth of value-based fees, and they're on track to do about $1 million this year of value-based fees work over and above their regular compliance work. So, Cole, the 427 is a fantastic number, particularly when it's not getting propped up by low productivity, because you can have a high average hourly rate with low productivity because if you price up front, the number just pops out. So this firm is actually getting the productivity here of 84% as well. So that's pretty cool, Cole. Hello, Cole. We've lost him. All right. Lost Cole. He'll come back. I'll just keep talking. There you go. Not too sure what happened to.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can now, Cole. You're back.
Oh, good. Okay. I don't know what happened there. So yeah, very strong numbers indeed. And yeah, so that 427 is a super number. The one right above it, 145 for the average hourly rate for all hours worked. That was against the 96, sorry, the 85 I think you showed for the entire profession. So yeah, a great effort there, and you'll see right-ons there of 29% as well.
So that's the next thing I want to point out, that this particular firm is not writing on after the fact, as in pricing arrears. They're pricing in advance, driving the time down, and getting net write-ups of 29%. But what I like here, their profitability is 65%. So our target is 67, we're a little bit low, but 65% before partner salaries, and we look at the 45% mark here. Their profit the productivity for directors is 45%. Still too high, but certainly it's. When I first met this firm about 3.5 years ago, the productivity of partners was around 70%. Their average hourly rate was about $160. So come ahead and profitability was like high 30s. Profitability has come ahead and leaps and bounds in 3.5 years by implementing some of the things we're talking about today, Cole.
Yeah, and that's a really key dynamic as well. And where you see EBIT percentage 60% plus, often you'll find directors' productivity around the 65, 70, 75%. So in other words, the partners are propping up the profit margins. But what they've been able to achieve in this firm is driving profitability up and driving director productivity down. And so that's a great combination.
Great combination, and it's any firm can do this. You've just got to have, and we'll take you through 7 areas. Since our 7th birthday, we're going to take you through 7 key areas of content that you need to implement to get a far better result. So with that in mind, let's go to a little model that I created, which is what does it look like to create $1 million profit per partner? And this $1 million mark, our belief is that you're all worth it. Some of your clients are making more than that, and not as smart as you. For the contribution that you make, for the value that you add, this should be an outcome for the partners and for the risk you take as well. So what does it actually look like? What does $1 million profit per partner firm look like considering only 2.5% of the profession, most of them are clients of ours, are making more than $1 million profit per partner. And it's not just about the profit. I'm just looking at this as the end result of all the hard work that you put in. So let's take a two-partner firm. A two-partner firm, and let's say we've got 10 accountants. Then admin and marketing, they might have 4 people. Let's say 1 marketing coordinator. They might have 2 client service coordinators and maybe 1 receptionist. Client numbers, 600 client numbers. The average project value, so you might know the average fee for the year, but what's the average project value? So per transaction, let's say $1,750 per transaction. And this client base are buying on average 4 projects from the firm. So revenue for this business, 600 times 1,750 times 4, is going to add the $4.2 million. So here we have a 16-person business doing $4.2 million. So just a smidgen under $300,000 revenue per full-time equivalent person. Salaries for the 14 accountants and admin marketing people at $1.28 million, so nothing out of the ordinary there. So not excessive salaries, not low salaries, just looking at the standard sort of salaries that firms pay, which is going to give us GP of $2.9 million, which is going to come through at 70-something% there. Office overheads, $920,000. So the total cost of this business is $2 million, and the profit being $2 million, little error there, $2 million, and give us profit per partner of $1 million profit per partner. The costs are $2.2 million. Gives us profit per partner of $1 million. Now, the other numbers to monitor here are going to be the productivity, and these numbers do stack up, by the way. 30% productivity for partners, so we are still doing some client work here, but under those 3 things that Cole mentioned. 75% for the accounting team, so the numbers do stack up. And then what's going to flow through here is $307 average hourly rate for client hours, and then $155 for all hours. So Cole, that and the anatomy of that firm that we showed you before, and then put that together with this firm here, you look at, you know, it's achievable. It's totally achievable if that's the goal of $1 million profit per partner.
It's certainly achievable, and it's scalable up and down as well. And so there's no reason why a sole practitioner can't have $2 million in revenue, $1 million in profit. And similarly, multi-partner firms can do the same thing as well. But one of the keys here, and incidentally, Rob, if you looked at the firms who are kicking $1 million profit per partner, a fair chunk of them would be sole practitioners. The interesting thing, I think, is leverage, and I talked about this briefly before. And what you've shown here, Rob, is this is a 16-person firm with 2 partners, so we've got 8 people per partner. Where a lot of firms get stuck is around that 4-person per partner level, and you put in an artificial ceiling there on your revenue and profit if you don't invest in good people. And to attract the right sort of people to achieve this means you've got to have a really sharp brand. You've got to be doing interesting things. You've got to be doing value-based work that will attract people who are interested in those sorts of services. You've got to have a good quality client base, so you need some smart marketing. So there are things to be done, but this is most definitely achievable.
Absolutely right. So if this is your goal, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, $1 million profit per partner, or whatever the number happens to be, we need to make some changes. And I want to talk to you, and Colin will talk to you about, you know, the business of accounting. And as you look at the business of accounting, we're in this cycle here. You're in this cycle of doing accounting work, transactional work for your clients. And predominantly, most of the industry, excluding the Big Four, has about 80 to 85% of their revenue tied up in compliance. It's tied up in this annual compilation work. I just want to talk about what's happening there and what it's all about. So because if you stay just in compliance, because those firms that are really hitting goals, as Cole said, are more involved in value-based fees, they're more involved in value-based projects, they're more involved with different types of clients, they're doing different things. So let's have a look at what accounting is. If we look at the function of accounting, you know, particularly accounting being the compliance accounting work, what is it? At its core, it is checking and lodging. Checking and lodging service. So what happens here is the client of yours, business person, has humans involved at the data entry point, and so consequently the data that comes through to you needs to be checked because there's a human element involved. So you check it, and I am simplifying the process here and generalizing a fair bit here. You check the data that comes in. Typically that comes in on a USB stick, unless it's a cloud accounting system, which it comes in via a login. But it comes in on a USB stick or a CD, and it's 1 to 2 gigabytes of data. You import that data into your system, you check it, you manipulate it, you go backwards and forwards with the client. So if your financial year starts in July, sometime around August, September, that starts coming in, and sometime between, January and, March or April or so, you start sending it back out, or thereabouts. I am being facetious there, Cole, right? So the data is checked for compliance. It's checked at the accountant's end, and then after it's all checked and said and done, it's then lodged with the government agencies to say, there you go, that is the annual return for that individual or the annual return for that business. And of course, the subsequent notes come on how much extra tax you have to pay or whatever. So, Cole, you've been an accountant. I am not an accountant, but I've been working in this industry for a long, long time. And you were an accountant for 10 years. You're still an accountant now, but you worked in a firm for 10 years. Is that what it was like back then?
Well, it's sadly that's what a lot of the profession is like. I was fortunate in that the firm that I joined back in England was offered a lot of value-based services to clients, and that's what I signed up for. I remember the managing partner of that firm saying, you've got two choices, Carl. Either you join a normal firm and you'll spend the next 6 years ticking with a green pen, or you can come to us and we'll throw you some really exciting opportunities. And I think, at the core of the person who joins an accounting firm, we don't join to do this, but we end up doing this if we're not careful. I did a little survey with a group of firms in a coaching meeting, Rob, and said, why did you become an accountant? And the answers we get are typically, we like people, we like to help, we're interested in business, we want to make a difference in our community. And yet, if we're not careful, we get consumed by this checking and lodging that, Rob, you're absolutely right, is probably 80–85% of the profession today, sadly.
So where's the importance with this checking and lodging thing? And the importance between, from the client's point of view, yes, we know it's an important function, and society says that, I, as a business owner, must have an accountant, so I have to get a job done. The government says that you must fill in your returns, but really, where's the importance to me? For the majority of your revenue, where's the importance? Would you rate it as, from the client's point of view, maybe you ask your clients this, would you say that it is, down here in quadrant 4, which is extremely important, sorry, not that important, not that urgent? Would you say it's over here in quadrant 2, which is moderately important but not that urgent? Is it quadrant 1, which is very important and very urgent? Or is it over here in quadrant 3, which is going to be not that important but very urgent? Where do you think, and maybe we'll put a note in the poll here, just tap in a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. From your client's point of view, what do they think about the majority of your revenue, the service that you provide that produces the majority of your revenue? Where do you think it would be? Maybe you should ask your clients that. And they're going to say 3 or 4. At the end of the day, it's not that important to us. It's historical data. It's late. It's 12, 18 months old. What can I do with it? Okay, my system was okay, so I knew pretty much what I did. Yes, I understand I've got to pay that amount of tax. That gives me a certain result from it. But at the end of the day, this service, where 85% of your revenue is tied up, is not that important to me, the client. And to make matters worse, there's some changes happening here. And the big changes are coming through with the use of technology. And this is one of the reasons why we've seen a decline in the profit per partner. And the change in technology is around smartphones and barcoding. So right now, your checking service exists, and the big chunk of your revenue is checking, not so much lodging. Your checking service exists because there's humans involved at my end, at the client end, and the humans are data entering not that well. So what would happen, and what is happening because these tools are available right now, if at the business person's end that my technology is all connected through the internet. So for example, I purchase a product that's got a barcode on it, and I swipe the scanner, and automatically the warehousing system's notified that there's one less product of that. And it says, on capacity, we need X number of those, so consequently, please order some more. At the same time, I put my smartphone in front of the scanner, and that throws two things. Number one, it sends the money to the vendor, so that goes from computer to computer. And then secondly, it updates the client relationship system to say, Rob's bought another one of those. So these systems exist to take the human element out at your client end. It exists right now. And it couldn't exist until the whole cloud, internet-based systems evolved. It's not just about cloud accounting. It's about the convergence of technology that's making the difference as to why your checking service will be drastically minimized, as in don't need to check as much, because the computers are talking to each other, the computers are doing the checking. Now, will the checking go away? No, it won't, but it will change. It will diminish, because the computers no longer need a human putting out a perfect result, for that result. And that result being, that's how much money was banked, that's how much was invoiced, that's how much stock we have, these are the customer metrics, etc., etc. So the checking service in the future, and it's happening right now, will vastly change. So that's one part. What about the lodging service? Well, the lodging side of it, right now the accounting profession is an intermediary. It's an intermediary between business or taxation and the government agencies. The government agencies only want my cash. They are not interested in accountants. They are interested in my cash, making sure it's the right amount, making sure it's paid in full and by the due date. So what's going to happen? So right now your function is to check the data, lodge it, and get the client to pay the tax. So what's going to happen if the checking service at the business end is done better by computers? What about the lodging service? Well, the government agencies, all they need to do is it's not a simple thing, and they are going to be slow like a tortoise. They need to actually improve their incoming data systems, the process of incoming data, so that their computers can talk directly to the business computers as well. So if that's the case, and this is the future, and this is happening right now with technology companies, if that's the case, why do I need to buy your checking and lodging service? Colin, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the whole thing's fascinating, and there'll be many accountants thinking, well, despite all of these advances, we're still going to have to recode transactions because it'll still be wrong. Well, the problem is that might be important to you, but it's not important to the client. It's not important to the tax office. And Rob, you said the tax office, all they want is to be paid the right amount and a few other things. I'm not even so sure that they're too bothered about the right amount. As long as they're getting some tax revenue, that's all they're bothered about. And so it's certainly going to change. And this whole thing with the mobile phone and the scanning and the barcodes and so on, Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook keeps denying he's going to start Facebook Bank, but it would be a rather smart thing to do, you think?
Absolutely. Now, you can't stop it. This is going to happen whether you like it or not. The technology companies are driving it, and processing and content-related businesses and publishing-related businesses are in the firing line of the technology companies. The Internet is changing everything on the automation of services and business. Look the last 15 years. Look how many businesses, industries have literally been wiped out that were transactional processing businesses. And the accounting profession is in the firing line. Einstein actually got it right. Einstein said, look out accountants, repetition leads to systemization, which leads to automation, which leads to commoditization, which leads to price pressure and competition. So way back then, Einstein even knew that accountants are in the firing line here. Repetitive tasks, by the way, Einstein did not come up with that. I came up with that, just so you know. Well, I thought I'd throw Einstein in there. Repetitive tasks, annual compliance. We want to systemize it to make it more efficient. That's the process. So putting in things like, more efficient working paper systems, technology systems to systemize, one way of doing it, which leads to automation. So systemization, the next step is automation. So automate the process so that a machine can do it. After that, commoditization, which means around the world, just recently, by the way, about 3 months ago, I was in a coaching meeting. I don't know whether I told you it's not cold, but we had a firm in Melbourne, Australia, was telling us about one of their colleagues who just received an ethical clearance letter from an accounting firm in India to do the client's work in Melbourne.
Is that right?
Whoa, wow. Unbelievable. So why? Because the data that has been automated is now light data. It's a login, not a heavy stick of 1 to 2 gigabytes of data. It's light data. So commoditization, we're seeing it now. We're seeing accounting firms who are big cloud accounting firms have packaged services for compliance, $2.99 package a month, $3.99, $4.99, for example. How could they do that under a customized solution per client? They can't do that. But the tools at the business end are so much better. We can now commoditize compliance, and of course that's going to lead to price pressure and competition. So Cole, Einstein got it very right.
Well, he did, and I think the salient point is it doesn't take Einstein to realize that this is going to happen. Once you acknowledge that your core service is a commodity, then you've got to move away from that customization and figure out how you can process the core service, as in the compliance work and the compilation work for the client, as quickly as possible, leaving you the time to properly service the clients. And again, high-tech, high-touch. I don't think enough people have embraced this yet. That the more technology drives down the need for you to do the checking work, the more time you're going to have to spend servicing the client. Otherwise, the only thing they have to choose on is price.
So the question for the audience, Cole, is on the topic of compliance commoditization, how soon? So how soon do you think it will happen? Your answers are going to be now, never, or a number that has years. So 1, 4, 5, 7 years. And this will give you an indication, and we'll get a poll on this, what everyone thinks, with a few hundred people listening in right now. If you could put in now, never, or a number of years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, what you think, how far away do you think commoditization of compliance is? And we'll get an answer in the next couple of minutes from our team. So you go ahead and do that right now, please, into the chat. So, and just make a snap decision. There's no analysis needed. It's what your gut feel tells you is going to happen, driven by these technology companies, because they have to change to remain relevant. They have to put all their systems on the internet. 80% of all software in the last 12 months was written on the internet, on the hard drive system, and that's leading to commoditization. Information is leading to commoditization. I can go into Google right now and find out how I do things through YouTube. I can get instructional videos where I used to have to go to an accountant and ask these technical questions. Now I don't need to. So what's it all about? Well, I think it's all about success. I think it's all about doing something different and quote unquote living the dream. But if you look at success, the definition of success, my definition of success is doing what you want, when you want, with whom you want, in a manner you want. So if our objective is to be more successful, these things are happening right now, it's like a tsunami of change coming, then what are we going to hear? A couple of people said now, and one even said before now. Wow, some other numbers coming through. Wow, look at that, before now, it's already happened. So you need to change, but you need to hang on to, I think, this definition of success. So it's all about you. What you want to achieve, when you want to do it, with whom you want, and manner you want. If you've got an abundance mentality, not a scarcity mentality, then you can do whatever you want to do. And the really cool thing is that the content, the technology, the methodology exists on how you do that. So what I thought we'd do, although we've given you some a bit of fear out there, so to speak, and some numbers which aren't that exciting, let's give you some answers. Let's give you some answers in 7 key areas, since our 7th birthday, in 7 key areas that we see as the top 7 you need to focus on to make a dramatic difference in the performance of your business and, of course, your lifestyle of yourselves and your team members and your clients as well. So 7 key areas. The first one is ambition. To make some changes, you must have some ambition. You must be motivated by something. You can be motivated by the changes that are coming through with the technology changes, or you can be motivated by something you want to achieve. So people will do something different based on their ambition and based on whether they want to move away from something. I don't like what's going on right now, or moving towards something. I'm looking for something better. You must have some ambition, otherwise you're not going to implement anything. Nothing is going to happen. So I encourage you to find some ambition. Cole, what have you seen with firms that are more motivated than others?
Well, I think this is an absolute key one, and we often say apathy is our biggest competitor. You can achieve anything if you want to do it, but you've got to have a reason to want to do that, a real drive to want to do it. And Rob, I think the previous slide you put up about success is really, really important, and everyone on the line needs to figure out what it is for them, and don't get hung up on the $1 million per partner. Figure out what it is for you and how you can best look after yourself and your family and your clients and contribute to your community. Whatever it is that is that ambition for you, find it and then attach all your actions to that.
And whether that ambition be making some changes because you have to, whatever it is, you need to find it. Now, Cole, on the poll, we had one person said never, just one. The average was, the belief out there is that average is 2.5 years, that compliance will be commoditized. So that's not too far away, Cole.
That's right. Yeah, interesting.
So maybe the ambition, the burning ambition, is business survival, for the majority of your revenue, and we're certainly here to help you do that. Next one is the team. We need people around us. We're in the people business. You hire people. You can get people virtually now. You can get people outsourced, but you still need people to do the work for some, the advisory work. And Cole, can't stress enough, getting the A-team in place, getting the right people on the bus, the right seats on the bus, firing as a team, it just makes it so much easier, as we've discovered, Cole.
It certainly does. Hire slowly, fire quickly. You've got to have the right people around you. Look, the big firms are laying people off. They're paying deferment payments to stop graduates starting. There are opportunities right now to get out in the market and find people who want to work in a progressive, perhaps a smaller firm where they've got more opportunities themselves.
Next one, value. You must price based on your value contribution. You must believe in your own value initially. You must, so okay, where's the value in this project before you, price the project with your client? The first sales to yourself, and a way to do that is to, put the project up. It's interesting, really interesting. I'll just bring up our community forum real fast. We'll come back to this later on. But I see here a post that went up an hour ago, and we have a web forum with about 1,100 accountants on it. And sure enough, Brian here has put up a question regarding pricing. And already in the last hour, 2 accountants have actually contributed an answer to Brian's pricing question. And so with a bit of luck, Brian gets the right answer he's looking for his question around pricing. And this, by the way, this forum has got over 11,000 posts I mentioned earlier on. So if you've got a marketing conundrum, it's there to use. If you've got a cash flow issue, if you can go ahead and put a post up there, pretty cool. You might celebrate with some quick wins. And say, look, we did this, we did that. I used the Panalytics, which is a product of ours. Clients gone from 3.5 to 18,000, fantastic. So you can use tools like this because what you want to do has already been done before. So I'll just get that over there. And so value, must value what you do, Cole.
Very important. And, you've got to value what you do before your clients will see value in what you do. And I think the key here is to get out and try new things and then ask the clients where they see the value. When I first ran a planning session with a business client, a 29-year-old accountant, I had no idea before I did it where the value was. But at the end of the session, the client said, this has been extremely valuable, and it's the first time we've sat down as a family group here and thought about where the business is going. And I thought, there's the value here. And just doing new things and getting constant feedback from clients will help you with this one.
Absolutely right. Next one, clients. Making sure we have a complement of clients that are suitable for us, making sure those clients are properly serviced. Just doing compliance work with clients for just 2.5 years, everyone believes it's going to be commoditized. So we need to do other things with those clients, value-added services with those clients. We need to make sure that we are nurturing those clients. We need to visit our clients, make sure that all their needs are met in line with their goals. And relentless on this. At the end of the day, you ask that question, Cole, why did you become an accountant? Many of them said because they wanted to help clients.
Yeah, they did. And Those of you on the line who started your own accounting firm, you will know that it's actually easy to get new clients. See, when you have no clients, you start from zero. You're out there, you're talking to everyone. You're grabbing the phone when it rings in case it might be a new client. You're asking all your mates down the pub, do you know anyone? And you get new clients. But the problem with that is you start taking all comers. And Rob, the best way to get clients of the type you want is to stop taking clients of the type that you don't want.
Very good, very insightful. Okay, next one, thank you. Marketing. You know, it's a new world out there, team. And certainly the new world means that we need to get on the front foot and we need to do some marketing. You know, just sitting back and waiting and reacting is going to get us a declining profit result. And that's not good for anyone's business. So we need to learn some marketing skills. We have firms that are hiring marketing coordinators, you know, outsourcing marketing functions. But what marketing are you doing in your firm? You know, what marketing should you be doing in your firm? Because that will make the difference between attracting people, attracting the right type of clients, positioning yourself against the sea of sameness that exists out there, and certainly to get the existing clients purchasing more from you. So marketing is a critical factor to all this going forward. Next one is going to be to take action. You know, and the action, you know, you need to look at the action. So, okay, what am I actually doing? Am I doing something? Am I doing nothing? Or alternatively, you know, am I doing the right things? And certainly the content that we work with our firms, to give you an example, just back to our system here, we actually have the action making sure it's the right thing. All of our content through our learning center here, which has got you know, hundreds of videos, 230 videos on here. It's all content. You know, the right sort of action to take. You know, because everything we do is based on what high-performing firms are doing. You know, and we have a menu here on whether it be, you know, sales, marketing, teamwork, workflow, write-offs, write-ons, you know, events, you know, all sorts of things on here on the type of action you need to take. So we base this based on, you know, what high-performing firms are doing, whether it be the Success Library with templates. Now you can get access to this, by the way. I'll talk about it later on. Having the right type of action and having the right things implemented is going to make a massive difference to the performance of your business. But we have to do something different. Cole, when it comes to action, you know, we need to look at, you know, how many projects and the right type of projects. What are you seeing there with firms when they're implementing?
Yeah, how many is the key. And when we work with firms on a quarterly basis, where we say pick 3 big projects that will really drive your numbers that you can implement in the next 90 days. You're much better off focusing on a small number, so move 3 things forward a mile, not 100 things forward an inch.
And the last one is going to be accountability. So and this is what we see with the high-performing firms in the future, who's keeping you and your team members accountable to their actions? So we developed this coaching process 7 years ago today. Well, I did 7 years ago today, and it's all about, you know, mentoring, giving instruction, training, skills, realizing your potential, you know, helping you, practicing skills, you know, advising you and developing. It's a coaching process so that, and it's got accountability around it. This has been the key to the whole thing. Those 625 firms that have achieved, it's been a coaching process that's made a massive difference to the performance of their firm. So providing you coaching, content, and technology. And this will keep you accountable. It'll force you to do things. It'll make a massive difference in your business. Cole, in wrapping up, I wanted to give a gift, 7 years, and I'll step you through how this gift works. It's totally free. Every single firm on the line has this. Absolutely complimentary, no strings attached. We are going to do a business performance review with every single firm on this webinar. As a thank you. You know, 7 years of great client success. We want to make it another 7 years, of course, but at the same time, the firms that are listening into this, hopefully give you some value, want to give you a gift. And let me show you how the gift works. And I'll just bring that down there. So we have a monitoring system called the Proactive Success System, and the Proactive Success System is all about tracking the performance of your business. And it's a planning process that we're going to do for free for you. It's a business performance review. It will require you to give us some data, and that data we will plug into the last 12 months on our Getting Started screen here. So I've just got a firm in here that I was working on last week, And so what's going to happen is you'll give us this amount of data, whatever it is, similar to our benchmarking data. We'll feed it in here, and what we're going to end up with is, by the time our team work with you, is a definitive plan on what your numbers need to look like, and more importantly, what you need to implement. So the team will step you through a revenue plan here. They'll work with you to, okay, so what price increase will you be applying, what average new, fee for new services. They'll show you how to actually get a percentage of your clients to purchase additional services, what existing services for new clients, put some numbers around that. And so that will give us a revenue target for the year. So this performance review will benchmark you against the report that we've just put out. So data comes out next week, so you have to see where you sit. And then we're going to plan ahead. And we're going to plan 12 months ahead. You will nominate the numbers. At the end of it will be a plan, literally a one-page business plan for your firm. We typically charge thousands for this, so we're going to give it to you as compliments for 7 years in business. We'll take you through capacity planning, explain to you how to do capacity planning in a different way. That capacity planning will be around efficiency. It'll be some new people. But in the day, it's going to be, you know, a different type of capacity plan than you may have done in the past. And this is going to feed directly into our system. And then from there, we'll get a bit more detail on the people. We will target some work in progress and some data days. We'll give you some how-to around how to fix that, if that's an issue for you. And then we'll put some other KPIs in there with you as well. And then what will happen after that is you will then have your monthly targets and normalize those numbers month to month. So this will be a planning session, complimentary. It'll be done phone and web or face-to-face, whatever's appropriate for you. And the end result will be that you've got a plan for your firm. As well as that, you'll be entering in projects. It's just a demo version here. Projects to implement, which will be pretty cool. So okay, what are we going to do here? So the team will work with you with what you've got to implement. They'll work with you on some marketing calendar here. So what marketing? There's nothing in this particular one. So all of this will be, well, actually there's some in this marketing one, client visit program, whole supplement, super fund seminar, etc. We are going to do, as our 7-year gift back to the profession, we give a lot back, Cole, a planning session for every single firm, which are 123 firms on this call, about 400 people listening in, 123 firms. We're going to do a business performance review. So that's pretty cool, Cole.
That's very cool and very generous. And I know that the firms who go through that process will get enormous value. Our team will take you through that process. Are working with accounting firms every day of the week, and so they know what works, they know what doesn't work. They'll be able to have a really quality discussion with you around some of these numbers and the targets that you set. So big value there.
Big value. So just back to the it'll be first in, first served, as in timing. But certainly our team will be in touch with you. But if you want to send an email to performance@proactiveaccountants.net, then you'll get first in line to get this done. We just need 12 months of data, and then there'll be some to and fro, and then the formal plan will go with you. So thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Cole, my partner, business partner of the last 2 years. We've worked together for nearly 15 years now. Awesome contribution. All of that technology that we just flicked through there. Colin built all that. So he's the brains behind the technology side that we provide to our firms. But certainly it's a pleasure, Cole. For the last 7 years, the results we've had, I'm going to say happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday indeed, and here's to the next 7 and many more.
The next 7 and many more. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Looking forward to interacting with you next time. All the best. Bye-bye.